Even at the end, Caitlin Clark got hacked. In the last 2.9 seconds of the game, Caitlin Clark was hacked. No call. Should have been 3 free throws. 3 of them, bro. She should have had 3 of them. This is freaking ridiculous, bro. I mean, ridiculous. We need to write the WNBA right now because these referees have to.
The WNBA just staged its own reality show, only this time the script was written by blind refs and biased whistles. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever didn't just lose to the Liberty, they got robbed. Forget game plans or defense, this one was decided by the officials and it reeked of agenda. One bogus call flipped the momentum, leaving fans wondering if they were watching basketball or courtroom drama. Did the Liberty win? Or did the refs hand it to them? Either way, this scandal just lit the internet on fire.
But it was one of the worst refereed game. It was one of the worst refereed games I've seen. But in a long, long time.
The WNBA refs aren't calling games. They're putting on a Broadway tragedy, and Caitlin Clark just got cast as the fall girl. In a league where whistles are supposed to mean fairness, this crew delivered a performance worthy of an award show.
That section, I think some of the calls, and I hate to dwell on the referees. You guys know I don't like to do it because I really don't like to pay attention to the sports police, but I feel like they are part of the story here. At the end, the last play, Caitlin Clark has a chance to attack going left with Natasha Cloud. She sticks the hand in, kind of looks like a clean steal, can't really tell. You can call that as a reach. Refs choose not to. Stephanie White chooses.
Indiana Fever versus New York Liberty, a matchup everyone circled on the calendar, not because of a rivalry, but because Caitlin Clark turned the Fever into must-see TV. She's practically dragging the franchise out of irrelevance with sheer willpower and three-coin range. But while Indiana showed up to play real basketball, the refs showed up to play favorites. From blown calls to invisible fouls, it felt less like competition and more like Whistleball Liberty Edition. At this point, Simon didn't just say they handed the Liberty the script and the trophy.
We don't just say, oh, the refs, no. We put names on it. We put names on it. When the referees aren't good, we put names on it. Angelica, Ryan, Aegon, Abazi, folks, I'm watching that game. I noticed Aegon's bald head from anywhere. I can be over here in New Jersey, look out my window and be like, oh, that's Aegon over there. What's he doing down the street? He doesn't live anywhere over here. I can recognize that bald head. I can pick that bald head out of a lineup. Don't show me his face, just show me the shine. Show me the glisten on the top of his head and I can say, yeah, that's Aegon. These 3 referees were atrocious today. But I do want to say Ryan Sassano, I did a lot of calling out referees last year. Ryan, I'm not too familiar with you, Ryan. But now you are on.
Make no mistake, the Liberty are a top-tier team. With a talented roster, strong chemistry, and more depth than a Shakespearean monologue, they're a serious title contender. However, when the referees start handing out free throws like Oprah handing out gifts, you get a foul, you get a foul. It raises questions about bias. It's almost as if someone slipped their Gatorade with a splash of pure New York favoritism. By the time the third quarter arrived, it no longer felt like a basketball game, but rather a parody called Foul on Caitlin the Musical, starring referees as tone-deaf headliners and Clark as their unwitting scapegoat. The inconsistency calls into question the fairness and integrity of the game. And of course, the moment everyone's talking about. The call. Oh, that infamous, mind-boggling, logic-defying, physics-ignoring call that practically shouted. We're not even trying to hide it anymore. Caitlin Clark was doing Caitlin Clark things, commanding the court like a seasoned general, weaving through defenders with the surgical precision of a neurosurgeon fueled by Red Bull, and carrying the Indiana fever on her back as if she were a heroic firefighter battling a 4-alarm blaze. With the clock ticking down and pressure building like a volcano ready to erupt, she drove into the lane, her eyes locked on the basket, fully aware that this was her moment to shine. It wasn't just a drive, it was a cinematic scene. Slow motion kicked in, accompanied by swelling music and a tense heartbeat overlay. The entire arena felt the electricity surge. Everyone knew what was coming. A fearless, game-changing play from the rookie phenom already drawing comparisons to legends. And then bam, the call. A foul so obvious, so blatant it could have been spotted from space. A contact so severe it would be classified as assault in most jurisdictions.
Shout out to Stephanie White. The Fever coach stood up for her team. She demanded respect and she blasted.
Her arm was hacked, her momentum disrupted, and she tumbled in a way that screamed crime scene more than basketball play. It was a foul so blatant, so egregious, that even the most seasoned street ball players would wince and mutter, "Yo, that was dirty." But the referees? Oh no. They seemed to have entered a different dimension, one where gravity defies logic, unicorns officiate the game, and basic eyesight is optional. Suddenly, the officials developed a case of selective blindness so severe it could qualify as a medical emergency. A blackout of justice so complete, you'd think someone had unplugged their moral compasses mid-splay. It was as if they'd been replaced by cardboard cutouts, programmed to ignore reality altogether. The crowd? In utter disbelief. Fans sat with jaws on the floor, clutching their heads like they'd just witnessed a UFO land mid-court. Phones shot into the air as everyone scrambled to record, rewind, and rewatch the play, desperately hoping they'd missed something. But they hadn't. The evidence was glaringly obvious, crystal clear daylight, and yet, somehow, it was invisible to the three officials responsible for calling the game. The entire arena was left stunned, questioning how fairness could be so completely thrown out the window.
Clark has to get open. 1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off.
That was a foul, guys. And I wish we had another angle. Oh my God, I wish we had another angle. So, guys, I'm literally surfing the web right now. I'm literally surfing the web right now to try to get us some footage, man. Because this right here is ridiculous. Natasha Cloud straight up foul.
Even the announcers short-circuited. For a full 2.5 seconds, an eternity in live TV, they said nothing. Dead air. Then finally one muttered, "Well, I think we're all a little stunned." A masterclass in understatement. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was sprawled on the hardwood like a fallen warrior, blinking in disbelief, her face twisted in a mix of shock, frustration, and an unmistakable, "Are you serious right now?" In a game where every possession mattered, the officiating crew didn't just miss a call. They abandoned the rulebook entirely. No whistle, no justice. Just a turnover and a momentum shift so blatant you'd think it was scripted. The moment vanished, the play erased, and the crowd erupted into chaos. You could feel the collective outrage building, tweets flying, hashtags being born mid-sentence. Caitlin's face said it all. Furrowed brow, clenched jaw, the look of someone who just got robbed in front of millions. Not just of points or a possible win, but of something deeper. The belief that effort, grit, and skill would be honored on this stage, that fairness mattered. But in that moment, the WNBA sent a different message. Do everything right and still get nothing.
On that last play, no doubt about it. In my opinion, it looked like Natasha Cloud probably fouled her. It was not called. The referees love to swallow their whistles at that time, that part of the game. But then again, they did not swallow their whistles with the foul call on Lexi Hall, against.
She didn't plead. She didn't lash out or throw a fit. Instead, she stood tall, wiped away the sweat and the sting of injustice, and prepared to finish what she started. Yet the ache remained. Everyone saw it. Everyone felt it. That moment when you realize the playing field isn't as level as they promised. This wasn't just about a missed call. It was about the message it conveyed, that despite all her triple-doubles, her leadership, and her record-breaking achievements, she could be dismissed in an instant by bureaucratic indifference. A call like that doesn't just shift the score. It reverberates beyond the court, into locker rooms, press conferences, social media debates, TikTok videos, and barbershop conversations. It becomes part of the narrative, lingering like gum on a sneaker. Messy, irritating, impossible to ignore. It's a stark reminder that, in the eyes of those in power, effort and talent can be overshadowed by a single moment of neglect. The game's integrity is challenged, and the impact extends far beyond that fleeting second.
4 games for Stephanie White to say, I've had enough. It's taken 4 games for Stephanie White to say, you know what? I've had absolute enough. Game 1, okay. Game 2, okay. Game 3, all right. But today was the last straw when it came for Stephanie White. The New York Liberty get to the free throw line.
And let's be honest, if the names had been different, would that whistle have stayed silent? If it had been a more established player, a league favorite with a few all-star nods, would the referees have swallowed the whistle? If the jersey had said anything but Clark, would the call have gone in her favor? That's the uncomfortable truth everyone's avoiding, but knows deep down. Moments like this expose the fragile illusion of fairness in sports. Suddenly, the myth that the game rewards solely effort and talent feels laughable. The idea that everyone gets an equal shot crumbles with one blatant no call. But this wasn't just a simple missed call. It felt like a betrayal. A betrayal of hustle, dedication, and excellence. Caitlin Clark poured everything into that game, fire, skill, heart, and what did she receive? Not even the courtesy of a whistle. Just deafening silence. No explanation, no justice. Only a void where fairness should have been, because in a game where sound and action determine the outcome, silence from the officials screams louder than any crowd. It sends a message. You don't matter enough. And that lingering echo extends far beyond the court, reminding everyone that sometimes the game isn't fair at all.
So yeah, I was like super frustrated watching this game. It was not called the same for both teams. And you know, I haven't been one to call out the refs a lot I hadn't been one to call out the refs a lot last season, but this season it's so apparent that how lopsided the officiating is. But you know what? I still feel better about this game than I felt.
Now, let's address the most infuriating, rage-inducing, utterly ridiculous moment of the entire game. The phantom foul call on Lexi Hall that practically handed the victory to the New York Liberty. That single call changed everything in an instant. With the score razor-thin and the tension thick enough to cut with a knife, the referees decided to throw logic and fairness out the window, gifting the Liberty a 2-point lead on a silver platter. And it wasn't because of any obvious skill, hustle, or actual foul. No, it was because they claimed to see something no one else on Earth did. Seriously, what foul? Lexi Hall was as clean as a whistle in that play. No contact, no shove, no arm bar, absolutely nothing. If anything, she was playing defense that coaches dream of, focused, disciplined, and within the rules. But for reasons only the referees' overactive imaginations can explain, they called a foul. It's almost like they were auditioning for a soap opera and mistook the court for a stage. Replays repeatedly showed the same thing: zero contact. No push, no pull, no violation, just clear space. Yet somehow they awarded free points to the opposing team, ignoring the evidence and fairness in favor of a phantom call that changed the course of the game.
Things went downhill. So this is them calling a foul on Lexi Hall, right? This foul is determining. This foul right here was the reason they won the game. This foul right here, guys. The game was tight.
I mean, she turns the corner and gets downhill. I don't know, Alexi Hall vertical. Maybe that's offense-initiated contact, and maybe Stephanie White's going to take a look at it.
Chance to give the Liberty the lead.
I mean, she turns the corner and gets downhill.
Guys, even the commentator said maybe that's offensive. Guys, I'm just...
The timing of that bogus call couldn't have been worse. It handed the Liberty just enough of an advantage to squeak out a victory they didn't earn. And yes, it felt completely fake, because it was. This wasn't just about Lexi Hull, it was a slap in the face to the entire Indiana Fever organization, and especially to Caitlin Clark, who's already had to endure enough questionable calls and biased treatment throughout the season. It's starting to seem like a vendetta is brewing against the Fever and Clark in particular. She's the league's most watched rookie, the talk of the town, and it's clear that not everyone is thrilled about her rise. The officiating in this game made it painfully obvious. If they can't contain her with tough defense, maybe they'll just try to silence her with questionable whistles. Fans saw it, replays confirmed it, commentators hesitated, unsure whether to call it out outright. But the scoreboard didn't lie, and in the end, the Liberty walked away with a victory shrouded in controversy. If this is what fair play is supposed to look like, then someone better check that rulebook, because it seems like it's written in invisible ink.
Not to challenge. You think about the foul on the previous play with Sabrina and how she went at Lexi Hull. They call it that time. Bonner gets whacked on the other end. They don't do anything. I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about this. I feel like it was kind of stolen from the Fever a little.
Of course, the refs, in their endless pursuit of chaos and their so-called wisdom, saw this theatrical display, this over-the-top, off-Broadway level dramatics from the defender, and decided, yes, this is unquestionably a foul on the rookie who's single-handedly bringing new life, ratings, and excitement to our league. Clearly, Caitlin Clark had to be punished for playing basketball too well, for daring to shine brighter than the veteran. So, predictably, they called a foul on her and the Indiana Fever, because apparently just breathing within 3 feet of a defender is now grounds for a whistle. Clark was sent to the bench, and Indiana's momentum was thrown into chaos, all while the officials probably celebrated their heroic efforts to maintain balance on the court. Because why wouldn't they? That's the new vibe. Call a foul on her for existing confidently, for blinking too aggressively near someone's aura, or for showing any sign of dominance. And when she's actually fouled, like hacked, smacked, or leveled, you can bet they'll look the other way, adjust their whistles, and pretend physics malfunctioned for a moment. It's more like performance art disguised as officiating, with Caitlin stuck as the unwitting star of this bizarre show. Somewhere a ref is probably rewriting the rulebook in crayon. Thou shalt not shine too brightly unless thou is a veteran.
Non-foul that happened. Or the non-call, and one of the things that happened during this whole game is the referees for again the second game in a row, I guess, definitely for the second game of the season, the referees swallowed their freaking whistles when it came to the Indiana Fever, and Stephanie White has lost her mind over it, and I don't blame her. I mean, at least she's standing up for the team, making it a public issue, so now the WNBA is at least on notice that everybody knows it now, that this team is not getting any.
So now what? Will the league pretend it didn't happen, sweeping this incident under the rug with all the other oops calls, hoping everyone forgets by next week? Or will they finally hold themselves accountable and address the blatant bias? The fans saw it, the players felt it, and Caitlin Clark? She experienced it firsthand, and she won't forget. Moments like these don't just fade away, they ignite fire and determination. They spark calls for change and become rallying cries for justice. Caitlin doesn't need the league's whistles. She'll just take your soul on the court next time, proving that true talent can't be silenced by a bad call or biased officiating. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.